Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today I just thought of doing this live session with all of you. A few days back I did it for the Cessna 152. So today I decided to do it for Cessna 172. Actually, I was trying to adjust few things regarding the stream because recently I have started doing these live streams. So, some settings required in order to get you the right stream. Right now, there are two people with me. Thank you very much for staying with me. And recently, I've also started my Twitch channel, so I will be there on my Twitch channel as well. Today, I'm going to do a short flight from Lahore to Sialkot. And it's very interesting because once I started doing this VOR navigation with the Cessna, so this was the route that I tried for the first time. I'm going to take you through the flight planning first because, if you're doing a VOR navigation, so obviously this is one of the most important things in order to have a flight plan. So this is the flight plan that I have. And you can see that the Allama Iqbal International Airport in Lahore has a runway like this, heading 359 degrees. It's almost 360 degrees. And over here we have the Sialkot OPST runway, which is in the heading of 40 degrees. Now, I just want to tell you one thing, that every airport has got different approaches. One is the ILS approach, and then you have the VOR approach, and then you have the RNP approach. Now, with this Cessna, I'm going to have a ILS approach, but the whole flight navigation will be based on VOR. I will not be using the GPS as in the Cessna 152, there is no GPS equipment. It's only VOR and ADF, or you track the non-directional beacons, NDBs. But in the Cessna 172, you can have either the GPS navigation, the VOR navigation, or you can also follow the NDBs. So this is how it's going to be. Now, VOR is actually a very high directional very high frequency, VHF basically, VHF OR, very high frequency omnidirectional radio, and it has a radial. All the VORs in the world are pointing towards the north. They're like 0 degrees is towards the north. So wherever the VOR is, it's always towards the north. All you have to do is this: you have to fly in the direction of the VOR and just make sure you keep on flying. Each VOR has a frequency, like for Lahore, it's 112.7, and it's known as LA. So if you are making a GPS-based a flight plan or an RNAV plan, which is known as the area navigation, so instead of entering 112.7, you simply enter LA. And your plane will automatically pick up the VOR. This is what we can also do it in the Cessna 172, but I'm just going to tune into the frequency of it. And this is the Morse code. If you are tuned into a VOR, you can always listen to its Morse code in order to ensure that you are picking up the right frequency. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to fly in this direction, and why I'm flying over here. Yes, the path. This is what I'm going to actually clear right now. If you look at this airport, you can see this is the runway and this is the VOR. It's actually over here. It's showing you just right in front of the runway, but it's slightly towards the left side. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to actually come over here to this point, and then I will turn right and I can start flying towards this point. Why I'm not flying directly towards this VOR? Because the approach is not like this. If I go to the flight simulator, I'm just going to show you something. Over here, if you look at the flight plan, the approach plate, you can see this thing that almost at D11.0 SLT, this is basically a GPS coordinate. If you are doing an RNAV, approach, or maybe an ILS approach, this is the point. D11.0 means DME 11. So if you are at this point, it means you're 11 nautical miles away from the runway. So that's why I am actually trying to come to this point, and then I'm going to proceed towards the runway. So that's why I have also kept a margin error of what you can say 1 more mile. So I am actually coming over here to this point where it's 12 nautical miles. Okay, so I will just come to this point, and over here then I will start tracking this VOR. So how do you track a VOR? It's very interesting. And to add something to this video, I'm actually using 172 Cessna for this video because it's got autopilot in it. So it's easy to control this plane. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to fly from this runway 36 right. And then I will try to follow this course, which is in the heading of 346 degrees. And the distance is roughly 53 nautical miles, as you can see it over here. I'm actually using SkyVector for the flight planning. I'm not making a tutorial nowadays because I'm a bit busy. So I just feel like coming live and doing these flights with all of you. So that's why I am not getting a chance to make a full tutorial for this plane. But anyhow, I will do a full tutorial and I will tell you how to properly conduct a VOR. But hopefully this video is also going to help you a lot. So this is like over here, heading 346. Now for every VOR, it has a heading and a plus a radial. What is a radial and what is a heading? So let's say if you are flying towards this point, you are flying in the direction of 346 degrees and the radial is also 346. So if you are here, your plane is going, let's say at this point, and you're going in this direction towards the north. So you are going in the heading of 346 degrees wherever you are in this line, and plus the radial on which you are is 346 degrees. But let's say if you are flying towards this airport, then what's happening is this. You are actually on the radial of 346 degrees. If you're coming from this side and you're approaching towards the Lahore airport, your direction is the reciprocal of the radial on which you are. So let's say if you are on 346 degrees, so you are basically, if I subtract it, there is a quick way to do it, but I'm just going to tell you the simple way. Just subtract 180 and from 360 and you get 180 or 346, let's say. Because if you're on this, if you're coming from this direction, obviously, so you are on the radial of 360 degrees, but you're going 180. You are heading towards this side. So you're heading in the heading is 180 and radial is 360. So if you are flying towards a VOR, the heading and the radial is different. Your radial is always the reciprocal of the heading. And if you are flying away from a VOR, then you're actually heading and the radial is the same. This is just one thing that you have to keep in your mind. So far, I've got 6 views. It's good. It's late night again because nowadays, you know, days a bit lazy, and plus in the next for the next 2 days, I'm also working from home. So that's why I can get up late in the morning, start working from home. I call it don't work from home. Okay, so that's why I'm here every night with all of you. Almost I'm trying to come, and after 2 days I will be going out for vacation, so no more videos for the next 10 maybe 12 days, but then I will just try to make some videos. Okay, so that's it. So if you are flying away from the VOR, your radial heading is the same, and if you are flying towards the VOR, it means that whatever the heading you have, the radial is always the reciprocal of it. That's it. So in this flight plan, what I'm doing is this. I'm flying away from this VOR like this. Sorry, I think Control Z will work. Yes, it worked. And I'm flying towards this VOR. But the point is this, I'm going to intercept this VOR over here on this point. And by the time I'm here, I will turn right, and then I will start to fly towards this VOR. So right now, if my heading towards this VOR is 41 degrees, then you can calculate the reciprocal of it, the radial that I will be on. And this is what I will show you in this plane. So it's very simple. So what is the first thing that we have to do is we have to do some flight planning in the plane, and then we are ready to go. So let's go over here. And this is basically Garmin hardware, and you can do the GPS navigation. You can select an ILS approach, but I'm just going to do a very basic VOR navigation with this. These are the two dials that you will be basically tracking, and this is what you're going to use for your flight tracking. So now over here, what you're going to do is this. First of all, you have to tune into the localizer that we are going to fly from. So if I just press this button, right now this is the frequency for the communication and this is the frequency for the navigation. So if I press this button, you can see now I can change the frequency for the communication, and now I can change the frequency for the navigation. So if you look at this flight plan, we have to get the heading and plus the frequency. So frequency is 112.7 for LA, VOR 112.7. So let's 112.7. In order to make this the active frequency, I just have to press this and that's it. So now this is the active frequency, but right now you can see nothing is happening over here because over here the GPS is selected. I have this button over here, GPS and nav. So if the GPS is active, then whatever the flight plan, I will enter it over here. The plane will follow that. And if I press this, then it is going to follow the VOR, the nav, as you can see. And over here you can see VLOC, which is your navigation for the VOR. Now, another thing that I will be doing is I will be traveling towards the Sialkot airport. And for this, I have to get the frequency for the Sialkot VOR. So for the Sialkot VOR, the frequency is 113.8. So let's go and enter it, 113.8. In the second port. Okay, so same procedure, change it from communication to your navigation. I forgot. It's 113.8, so 113.8. That's it, and let's make it the active frequency. Right now, same thing. As you can see, GPS is coming, and we have pressed nav, but it has not changed. In order to change this, you have to press this, and you can see VLOC is coming. Okay. So right now, for the first dial, you can see there is a frequency coming. It says 2 because right now this VOR just right at the back of this runway. So the plane seems to be going towards this VOR. Now the heading that I will be flying will be 346 degrees. So I'm just going to adjust this dial over here. So this is 360, this is 350, this is 340, 45 and 46. So we go to 45 and one more. Now what is this? This is basically CDI, course deflection needle. What is CDI? I'll just explain it to you. So let me just open SkyVector. Now the trick is this, that I can fly in this heading 346 at any point in this area. Even if I start from here, then if I'm heading towards this heading 346, then this will be the straight line. If I show you with the mouse, if you follow the mouse, 346, this is the direction. So I'm traveling in 346 degrees from anywhere in this world, but obviously I'm not going towards this point. I will be just somewhere here if I start from here, if I keep on going straight. And if I keep on going straight from here, maybe over here, I will be at this point, but obviously I'll be far from it. So I have to go to this point. So this is my course. So course deflection needle tells you whether you are following this line or not. So after flying, after taking this plane up in the air, you have to make sure that you are flying in this straight line and say straight direction, and then you will reach this point. So that's why it's important to have this heading set over here, omnidirectional bearing selector. This is basically the name for OBS. So you set it, and then you have your deflection. So as I've told you before, it's on the left side, so that's why this needle is coming on the left side. In order to intercept this line, so how are you going to fly? I'll just explain it to you. You'll take off from this runway 36 right, you'll fly, and then you will basically, with the help of this CDI, you will start turning towards left. Until the time this needle is in the middle, you'll keep on flying, and once it's in the middle, it means you are flying on this line, and then you will follow the course. So your main aim through the flight will be to keep this CDI in the middle. It means you are following it. Similarly, for Sialkot, I'll set the OBS to 40. And that's it, because this is 3, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and so on and so forth. So this is 40 now, okay? So 346 degrees for that and 40 degrees for this. One last thing that I have to do is this. I have to also enter the ILS frequency for the Sialkot airport, which is 109.3. Heading is also 41. So basically the VOR and plus this runway's heading is also 41. So let's adjust it over here, 41. And in the backup frequency, I can dial 109.3. I can just change it over here, and that's it. But I will not make it the active frequency by pressing this button. I'll just keep it there. And once I'm near the runway, I will just make it the active frequency. That's it. So now the flight plan is ready. Right now you can see this is not showing anything because to or from it shows, because right now we are too far from Sialkot, so that's why it's not showing. But I think as soon as I'll take off, after passing maybe 1,000 or 1,500 feet, it will start picking up the radio signals for that VOR. Okay, that's it. So everything is good now. What I can do is this. I can release the parking brake, and the flaps are also extended fully. Now only one notch down, just to give an additional lift on the takeoff. And during this flight, I will also tell you how to, fly the plane on autopilot. That's it. So we are ready to take off. Let's give full throttle, take this plane up in the air, and hope that we find the runway. It's very interesting if you're doing the VOR navigation. It's very interesting. For the 152, you can also you don't even have the autopilot, so your piloting skills are really increased if you are flying the Cessna 152. So now I can take it up in the air, 60 knots. Let's take it up in the air. Okay. Now flaps retracted. Okay. Now you can see there's a huge deflection. It's on the left, so it means I have to go on this side in order to intercept the course of the flight. Now you can see from coming. As soon as I was away from this VOR, it is showing me that I'm away from it. Going away from it and coming from. You can see from is appearing. So I will just keep on turning towards left till the time there is some deflection in the needle or the CDI, and then I will. Now there is a deflection, I can start turning back because I want to keep this CDI in the middle. So a little bit of turn. You have to do some little adjustments as soon as the needle is here. You can see the heading over here. My true heading. Okay, now I can just fly in this direction. That's it. Now what I'm going to do is this. With this, I'm going to activate autopilot and I'm going to select heading. And now I'm going to tell you about this thing, but let's fix the vertical speed as well. I will press it once again up and I will keep it at 500 feet per minute. And then I will enter the altitude for the target. So I will be flying at 4,000. So 4,000 is now set. As you can see, if you move this dial, your altitude is set. And if you want to increase or decrease the vertical speed, you press this button. Sorry, you press this button and it shows you the FPM. So if I press up, so now the plane is climbing at the rate of 500 feet per minute, and the target altitude is 4,000. So the plane will actually level off at 4,000. That's it. Now you can see there's a huge deflection. Now I will set the heading for the autopilot as it's following the heading as I've pressed this heading button. So it's flying in the heading mode. If I was using a flight plan over here programmed in the Garmin, then I will be using this nav option. So let's select heading. And over here, first of all, you have to adjust this heading card. Sorry, this over here. Press D and it's adjusted. If you also want to do it yourself, you can just make sure that it actually corresponds to your magnetic compass over here. So now you can see the plane is going in the exactly towards the north. Exactly towards the north. That's why it's in the north. Otherwise, you can always move it. So if you change it, it's going to be a big headache. Now, what I'm going to tell you is this, another interesting thing. I can press D and it will be like aligned. Now, after pressing D, you have to set the heading over here, the heading in which you want to proceed. So right now you can see this needle is coming on the left. I have again deflected from the flight path. And now you can see the plane has also started to pick up the localizer for Sialkot. So now after some time this needle will start to move, rather it has started moving. Because this is 346, this is 350, this pointer, this is, so I'm not going at a very, what you can say, a sharp angle to intercept this course. I'm going at a slow rate, or either I can also turn more towards the left in order to intercept this line at a higher rate. And as soon as it's over here, I will set the heading to 346 again in order to ensure that the plane is actually following this heading. So it's something interesting. The flight planning is easy. You can see the CDI has started to move towards the center. I'm just making some little adjustments because we still have a lot of ground to cover. Remember this thing that once you are near the VOR, this deflection is really high, but as long as you keep on flying away from the VOR, this deflection decreases, but still it gives you a accurate. Now 346. I will set the heading, and now you see the plane has turned, and now the CDI is in the middle. And another thing, as you can see it over here, the VOR LA, this RAD is radial, 346 degrees. As I've told you before, that if you are flying away from a VOR, your heading and your radial is the same. Distance, you have covered 9.7 nautical miles, and if you remember, initially I told you in the video that it's 53 nautical miles to cover. So after 43 nautical miles, I will be at this point, and this point, and then I will turn right towards the runway. Now you can see I was going a bit far, so I have to adjust the heading. As you can now see that the plane is still climbing at the rate of 500 feet per minute. I can fly towards the right because this line is now on the right. Now I can again adjust the heading. 346 radial. Anyhow, you can now ignore it. Don't let it go far. If it's over here, you're going in the right direction. Okay. Now you can see, as I have set the heading of 4,000, so now vertical speed has started to reduce. You can see this is the vertical speed indicator. And now it's at 0. Now the plane has leveled off at 4,000. Remember this thing that by this point, I should be at 3,200. As you can see, it says at this point, or basically you are flying a DME arc approach towards the Sialkot International Airport. So that's why your altitude should be 3,200 once you are flying on this arc. But I will not be following this arc. I will be just coming to this point and I will turn right. As you can see, as per the flight plan in the sky vector, if you draw a straight line, I will almost be here. Okay, you can also see it over here. It's a cheating. Actually, this plane is not supposed to do this, but I'm just telling you how to do a VOR navigation because I find it more interesting. It's interesting to even make a flight plan over here in G1000. I've done one. Sorry, this is not G1000. There's another version for G1000 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. If I'm not wrong, this is G500 and 400. At the top is G500, at the bottom is G400. Okay. So I was telling you that the VOR navigation is really interesting. The making a flight plan is easy. You can track any VOR in the world. You can just fly towards it and you can just get the ILS frequency and you can land. As this is telling you the course, this line will actually tell you the glide slope, whether you are following the glide slope for the ILS or not. For those who are new, I would just like to tell you that this is the glide slope, the rate of descent that you follow in order to touch the runway at the right point to land. You can see the speed is really high. What I can do is this. I can reduce the thrust. Actually, I was going with the full thrust. I was so much busy in telling you all about the navigation and the autopilot that I forgot to reduce the thrust. I can adjust it in such a way that it remains at 120. Just keep an eye over here. This is your speed. So I've now reduced the thrust. This is your engine power coming. You can see the roll or the turn coordinator. It's over here, your fuel flow, exhaust gas temperature for the engines, the fuel in the left and the right tank, the quantity of fuel. So that's it. Now everything is good. You can see there's a bit deflection, it's towards the left. So what I can do is this, I can slightly turn towards the left. Try to intercept this line, bring it in the middle. So this is 350. So I'll just keep it over here. That's it. There is actually a cut between this heading bug in the middle. So you can see this white line, smaller the big one, and then you can adjust accordingly. So this is how you adjust it. And you can see we are perfectly aligned with the course. Although it's kind of a cheating. Once you are doing a VOR flight, obviously you just are in a scenario in which you don't have access to GPS. You cannot see the flight where it's going, so you totally rely on your instruments in order to fly, especially in the Cessna 152. If you watch that video that I did a few days back, I did not open any airport chart. I did not use any navigation aid. So it was all based on the instruments that I had in the cockpit. So this gives you a kind of a thrill because initially you will not know where you are, where you're actually going, and it's totally flying based on the instruments. I've seen few videos on the YouTube. There are some YouTubers who are actually doing flights with Cessna 152 in the night or in the low visibility so that they cannot even see the landmarks. Because if you're familiar with the landmarks, you can carry out a VFR flight and then you can land the plane. Oops, speed has started to reduce. Now what autopilot doing is right now is this. It's already also setting this trim for the pitch, and it's trying to maintain 4,000 feet as I've entered over here. As soon as I'm near this approach, I will also descend to 3,200. Now if I press this button and I make the ILS frequency as the active frequency, you can see nothing is coming because so far we are far. No distance coming, no information for this ILS coming. But as soon as I'm near this runway, then we'll also start picking up information for this ILS. So right now you can see it's picking up the frequency of the VOR. Actually, it's a very feeble sound, but it's the Morse code for the nav. This is what I was listening to. Now, as soon as I'm at this point, this needle will also start to deflect. It will first come in the middle and then it will go towards the left. So I will try to keep it in the middle. So everything is looking good so far. I'm following this this track. Speed is slightly high. It's I think because of the wind changes also. There are 5 people right now with me. Thank you very much, guys, for staying with me. And I hope you are also enjoying the video. And I hope you'll also learn something from this. As to be honest with you, I have been practicing this VOR navigation and ILS approach with the Cessna 152 a lot. Since last year, October, I'm planning to do a tutorial for the Cessna 152. But still, I don't get really some good hands-on to that this kind of navigation because obviously I'm not used to it. When I started flight simulation, I started directly from the jet engines, and I'm just more used to programming the FMC and interacting with the autopilot. But flying 152 Cessna was really fun. It actually polishes your flying skills, not only in the real life, but also you get to polish your skills in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. So if you're flying the Cessna 152 and following a flight plan, you'll get a good hands-on experience of piloting. I'm reducing thrust. The speed is going high. So change in the wind is actually causing this. Usually when I'm doing flights, I am flying at 100 knots. But for this video today, I'm just going in a high speed so that, it doesn't take so much time. Because, it's very difficult to talk for almost 1 or 2 hours. So I'm just trying to go at a higher speed. Now, speed is reducing. I can again increase the thrust. You can see the distance to this distance from this LA is 30 nautical miles, 30.7. nautical miles. So we are going away from it, so that's why this distance is increasing. So I know that after 53 nautical miles, this point will come. So once 50 is here, I will start to adjust the altitude and wait for this line to come in the middle. So still almost 19 nautical miles to go. Again, the speed is increasing. I can just adjust throttle to. This is actually showing you the RPM for the engine. I can keep it at 25. Maybe if the speed is reduced, it's okay. Fuel flow is also good, because at the higher altitudes the air is thin, so that's why you have to actually have a proper mixture of the air and the fuel. So that's why this knob is here, so you can adjust the mixture. Right now it's full. Otherwise you can always pull it out and adjust the mixture. But if you reduce the fuel flow, the speed will also reduce. So that's why I have kept the engine RPM at 25. Yeah, let's keep it there. 34.7 nautical miles covered. Shams, thank you very much. Actually, I'm talking about 152. I know I'm flying 172. Thank you for pointing it out. I'm not confusing it. Actually, I did a video for 152 a few days back, so I was just giving you a comparison, because I was talking about this plane that I've been flying before. Because today I'm using 172 because I just wanted to introduce you guys to the autopilot as well. And plus, it's easy. I don't have to just be on the controls for the throughout the flight. But anyhow, thank you very much for being so attentive. Still some ground to cover. Almost 9 nautical miles to go. You can see we are coming at the right point. So this is the beauty of the VOR navigation. If you set the headings right, if you made your flight plan right, then you will eventually reach. But the best part is this: don't open any charts and don't use this, and then you will just enjoy the flight. If I can just zoom in and out. Interesting, nothing coming. So this map is also clear. That's interesting. So at 50 nautical miles, I will extend. Sorry, I will descend to 3,200. As I should be here at 3,200. In order to intercept this glide slope, I should be at 3,200. As you can see it over here, it's mentioned D11.0, 11 nautical miles. Now you can see if you draw a straight line, the way this plane is going, I will be somewhere here, a bit far. As you can see, there is a deflection. I'm going towards left. I should be going right. As this CDI is showing me, I should be going right. So that's why I will just adjust my heading a little bit. Shams, thank you very much. Shams is also one of the very regular subscribers of my channel. VOR navigation is really interesting, Shams. Because after some time flying jet planes, you get bored, and even in this plane you get bored a little bit because you're flying it on autopilot. But trust me, once you are flying 152, you're engaged all the time. Okay, so I can just turn more. Now it's in the middle, so I can just go back. Day after tomorrow, I will be away for almost like 10 to 11 days. I'm traveling to Pakistan on my Eid holidays. I think I'm going back home after like a month. Flight with the FlyNAS A320neo. I have the livery for the FlyNAS in the Phoenix simulations. Yeah, they have the livery in the livery manager. I'm also planning to do a proper tutorial for this plane. So maybe tomorrow, if I get some time before my flight, I will try to do it. As I've told you before, tomorrow is work from home, but I call it don't work from home. And I never work from home. Okay, so who works from home? Don't worry. You have to go to office. So if office is giving you work from home, it means they're asking you to just stay home and enjoy and relax and have some good time. Now you can see almost I'm there. Now 50 nautical miles. What I can do is this: I can reduce the altitude, and I can go press this button Alt and go down 500 feet per minute. And with this, I can also reduce the thrust, because you can see the speed is also increasing because I'm descending. Not me, the plane. Now you can see this deflection is coming, so let's start making some little adjustments in the heading. Yeah, now I'm going to go over here, 40. So start turning with this, and with this start reducing the speed, because now I'm flying close to this VOR, and the deflection will be really high. So that's why you have to be careful. At slower speeds, it's easy to follow the course, because obviously at a higher speed, the turns are very big. Now, no need to track Lahore. I can tune into the ILS. Now you can see 2 is coming, so it means I'm flying towards it. And I can adjust the OBS. And I will keep it at over here. Now I'm now tracking the localizer, so that's why no need to even track the VOR, because it's slightly off the runway. It's not aligned with the runway, so that's why it's easy to follow the localizer. There will be lots of deflections. You can see it's some fast movement. I can just start to turn with it. I think I can not see the runway. But I'm now almost aligned with the localizer. And this is the glide slope. As soon as I'm near the runway, it will also start to move down. Let's open this airport chart. You can see I'm slightly going towards the left, so I have to turn right and show that I'm tracking it. The airport chart just disappeared because I have actually deactivated the autopilot because the speed was really low. So now I will fly manually. Experiencing lots of headwind, as you can see. You know, if I move my hand from the control, it just goes up. That's why the speed was reducing a lot. I can pitch down. The visibility is really low today. Although I'm trying to adjust the pitch still, it's pitching up. Getting a bit difficult to control it. Okay, now I think my altitude is really low, so I can just like go up a bit. I'll keep it at 2000. That's what I was telling you. The beauty of 172 and 152 is this, that if you deactivate the autopilot, and especially in 152 there is no autopilot, so it actually increases your piloting skills. That's why I also deactivated the autopilot, so that I can just a little bit of thrust. Speed was really low. I'm just actually trying to keep the speed slow, because then it's easy to follow the flight path. Due to the low visibility, it's getting very difficult. It's always like this in Sialkot. Now I can fly towards. So you can see that I'm trying to keep the CDI in the middle. I can close this, don't need it. Can I find the runway? This is what I was telling you, the beauty of the VOR. You don't even know whether you're going in the right direction or not. Now you can see this glide slope indicator, it's coming down. So with this I can also start to descend. I think soon I should see the runway. Now it's time to descend. I'll start extending the flaps. Now you can see, now this is telling me the glide slope, and now I'm above the glide slope. I have to go down, descend. So that's how you follow it. Too much headwind, I think, right now today in Sialkot. You see, if I leave the controller, it just like goes up. I should be able to see the runway, and here it is. It doesn't have lights, although it's an international airport, it has lights, but in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, I don't know. I have actually reduced the thrust, coming at higher altitude. Trying to control it. So now you can see, even in the low visibility, because of the VOR and plus all the instruments in the plane, without using any GPS, I have found the runway. I am now following the glide slope. So that's how you actually do VOR navigation with your Cessna 152 and 172. I'm actually trying to set the pitch down, but still there is too much pull. Anyhow, I'm about to land. I hope it's going to be a good landing. It was a good landing. And that's it. So this is how you carry out a VOR navigation and ILS approach and then landing with this plane. I hope this was a good learning for all of you, and it was a good experience as I was getting bored, so that's why I thought of doing a flight with all of you. Right now there are 4 people with me. Guys, thank you very much for staying with me, and I'll also put my Twitch channel's username in the description. You can always just go and subscribe to my Twitch channel as well. With this, I would just like to end the stream. Thank you very much for staying with me. Have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.